Welcome to the exciting and new podcast. I'm Jason.
I'm Andy.
I'm Dana.
I'm Stacey.
Welcome back, Stacey.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Welcome back.
We are going to talk about Firestarter today. It's rated R, running time an hour and 54 minutes, released on May 11th, 1984, directed by Mark L. Lester. You may know him from Commando, class of 1984, Firestarter, and Showdown in Little Tokyo. But I do have a little something on this. The film was originally going to be directed by John Carpenter and Bill Lancaster, who wrote the screenplay for The Thing. Even wrote a draft for this film. But according to Carpenter, Universal executives removed both from the project in the wake of the box office and critical drubbing they received for The Thing.
How good would Firestarter be now?
Such a great movie, and for the fact that it was so panned back in the day.
And now it's like one of those things, like one of the 10 perfect movies of all time. You see it on all those lists. How does that happen?
Crazy.
How does a movie increase in its goodness over time when it's the exact
love that
same movie?
I don't know if you've ever seen it or not.
I'm honestly not sure if I've ever seen it.
Seriously, it's one of my favorites.
You should watch it.
Yeah.
It's a great movie.
It's a perfect movie.
But only that one. Only the 1983
strong
version.
The
It is-
1980s.
I think it's
I'm going to add it to my list.
I do think it's a perfect movie.
What is the thing?
It's,
What is it?
It's Kurt Russell and
Oh,
a bunch of
you've
other,
told me about this
They're out
before.
in the
Yeah.
Yaphet Kotto.
Afet Kotto and not Keith David, but David Keith.
Oh my God. I
Because
have the same
Keith David's in this
Keith
one.
thing today.
Yeah. But David
So
Keith's
David Keith is... Oh, so David Keith, not Keith David.
not
Yes.
the guy that's in this, the other guy.
This is David
I
Keith.
love
Yeah.
David. I love Keith David.
Yeah, he's in a lot of horror movies.
He's
Yeah.
in Community.
So but they're trapped in this Antarctic research station, and
Oh, okay.
the thing gets in.
Okay.
And it's just a bunch of people.
Do you see the thing?
Oh, yeah.
Do you ever
Yes.
see? Okay.
Oh yeah, many times.
Oh, okay.
Russell? Oof.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's Kurt Russell.
make a bad
It's
movie.
like
Kurt Russell 42 years
yeah,
ago.
it's Kurt Russell is
Yeah.
most
His
Kurt Russell. I mean,
prime.
he's got the big beard and
Yeah.
Oh, I'm excited.
Oh, yes.
Great.
It's
And
very-
He's got
very
the big hair.
like this is the
Okay.
type of movie that Goldie Hawn was watching, being like, oh, I want to meet that guy.
Yeah.
They probably hooked up like
Yep.
6 months
She's like,
later or something like
talking
that.
to her publicist. Why don't you reach out to Kurt's?
Yeah.
I got this script for this crappy thing called Overboard. Like maybe if I got that guy in it, I'll do it.
Love that movie, by the way.
Oh, that's
Oh,
I'm
God,
not
so
ripping on
good.
that
Love it.
movie. I'm ripping
Yeah.
on Goldie Hawn
So
saying
good.
like I don't want to do that
Yeah.
script, but
Just getting Private Benjamin was a fun one.
Oh, I
movie
used
too. I used to
yeah.
love
Yeah.
Goldie Hawn back in the day, like
Wildcats. Remember that?
Wildcats with Woody
Judy
Harrelson
Patootie.
and
Yeah.
Wesley Snipes. Was he in
Wesley
that too?
Snipes was in that, I believe.
Okay.
Yes. Our IMDb description: a couple who participated in a potent medical experiment gain telepathic ability and then have a child who is pyrokinetic.
And also apparently bulletproof. I don't
Yes.
know.
Which all of a
All of a
sudden,
sudden at the end.
not,
Yep.
not even
But I
penetrating.
also think she was developing her parents' powers because at one point she was like, she said, "Daddy, you told him out of nowhere." So I think she might have either read
Maybe.
his mind.
Yeah.
But then,
But did she do this? Because that's how he does it.
Yeah.
You know,
My
it
God.
was very
Well,
beautiful, and then he had a bloody nose.
I think he was
Yeah.
trying to hold his brain in this
Yes,
skull when he was
his
doing
brain
that
didn't
because he was
explode.
his head was probably pounding.
Yeah.
This is one of the few early Stephen King books that I did not read. Like I read everything
Yeah.
up to like the mid '80s, and I never read Firestarter, so I don't know how accurate this is to the book.
I didn't read it either, and I've read a couple.
I never read this one.
me either.
Some taglines: she has the power, an evil, destructive force. If you get on her bad side, you're toast.
Oh, that's funny.
I like that one.
Will she have the power to survive? And then I got this long sentence here. We got Charlie McGee is a happy, healthy 8-year-old little girl, normal in every way but one. She has the power to set objects afire with just one glance. It's a power she does not want. It's a power she can't control. And each night, Charlie prays to be just like every other child. But there are those who will do everything in their power to find her or destroy her.
You know, she might not have had the power to control it, but she definitely had the power to not use it. She didn't have to, like,
Yeah.
it wasn't like fire just came out of her eyes by accident. She had to, like,
She had
constantly
to, like her emotions
make it
to
happen.
Yeah.
make
So
it happen. Yeah.
she kind of controlled it. I wasn't ever sure with the back down or back
no,
off
she
or
was like-
whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever she was
She had to,
saying
like,
there.
put it in water to like.
I
calm
never
it
got
down.
that whole thing.
Yeah.
I mean, she explains it that one
Probably
time.
more
She's
in
like,
the book,
if I pulled
probably.
it back in, I'd die or something. But
All right, so our cast starts off with Charlie McGee, was played by Drew Barrymore. Did you know that she was up for this? It was for the role of Charlie. It was between Drew and the late Heather O'Rourke.
damn.
for the part. Barrymore went out the role, according to Mark L. Lester, but O'Rourke and Barrymore had a similar smackdown over the Carol Ann Freeling part in Poltergeist, with Heather winning that round and Drew getting Gertie in E.T. as a consolation.
That turned out the right way.
Yeah, I don't know if Heather O'Rourke. I mean, listen, she died young anyway.
I could
so it
see
doesn't
why
even
they
matter.
were both at the audition.
Yeah.
I would have said, like, if I were her parents, I'm like, do you just want to be typecast as like the girl with strange powers? You know, maybe
Yeah.
She was like, I'm on Happy Days too.
Yeah. I met the Fonz.
Do you want to try Drew's top 4?
Oh.
How many of them star Adam Sandler as well?
I think 1.
Oh,
Wedding Singer?
No.
51st Dates?
Yes.
Charlie's Angels.
Yes.
Her talk show?
Oh,
No.
boo.
Uh-huh.
E.T.
Can't stand it.
E.T. No. I don't understand why that wasn't in there.
David Letterman's desk as she was stripping in front of him.
Never Been Kissed?
Never been kissed yet.
Really?
Wow. Okay.
Did we say 3 or 4 of
That's
them?
3
all?
so far.
Oh, I
You
thought
got
we had-
Charlie's Angels, Never Been Kissed, and 51st Dates.
Oh, interesting.
Oh my God.
Not E.T., huh?
No.
And not Firestarter,
Is this
right?
young or older?
No.
Drew?
Blended?
I don't know when this was, honestly.
Boys on the Side?
No.
Oh, Batman. Wasn't she in a Batman?
She was in the one with Tommy Lee
Two-Face?
Jones
Wasn't
and
she in-
Two-Face.
What was she in Poison Ivy?
Oh, yes, she was.
Right?
So was
Yeah.
Alicia Silverstone, though,
Yeah.
or was it 2 different Poison Ivies?
Alyssa Milano was in that too, I think.
Really?
And she was in Embrace the
Maybe I'm
Vampire,
getting
remember
these
that,
movies
yeah.
mixed up.
What's
But
it
it's
sound like?
Ever After, a
Oh my God.
Cinderella
Oh, thank you so much.
series. Yeah.
I would have gotten there
Which one?
eventually.
What
year is that?
Ever After. Early 2000s, probably.
Okay,
I
I
think.
didn't know when.
I don't know that
Yeah.
one either.
She was like a ghetto Cinderella.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With Michelangelo
Yeah.
was like her best friend. Was it Michelangelo or Leonardo da Vinci?
What?
Yeah, her best friend was either
A Teenage
Michelangelo.
Mutant Ninja Turtle?
Yes. It was a new Ninja Turtle. It was either Leonardo da Vinci or Michelangelo was
The guy's name?
some old, no, it was him. I don't know why. I
person
have
that
no idea this
acted
choice.
in the original.
Yeah, it was original.
Which
It was
one was Corey
Michelangelo.
Feldman?
But he was just the voice.
Yeah, I know.
Of
Which one was he?
Michelangelo.
It
I
was
think.
Michelangelo.
No, but for some reason they made her best
Corey Feldman
friend
was the
like
voice of
the the painter. It was the dumbest thing.
Okay.
But yeah.
I can't wait to meet Corey Feldman in a couple weeks.
Oh my god. Ask him to do
This
a
will be my
guitar
second
solo.
time meeting him.
God.
Ask him to do a guitar
Amazing.
solo in front of you. Feel like
I don't know. I want to talk to him about that, and I want to see if I can bring up like Big J Okerson because he hates Big J Okerson.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
A comedian?
yeah, we got tickets for him too.
and
Oh,
ask
I
him.
love that
Oh, when
guy.
is that? By the way, I was trying to do my October
I
calendar.
forget what
and
day
I
it
was
is.
like,
I'll tell you. It's written at work.
Okay.
November something.
oh, it's November. Okay.
Yeah, it's a Saturday, I think. It was after Thanksgiving, the Saturday after.
Okay. I was gonna say it's
Thanksgiving,
after I get back from Vegas, right?
Yeah. So if you
God.
want to come to that, let us know.
I might, yeah.
Andrew McGee was played by David Keith.
Okay. So
That's-
he's David Keith. So
that's
Keith
Charlie's
David's
dad.
the other guy.
Keith David is a black man.
Yes.
Yes.
And he's in many movies.
Many
Armageddon.
He's one.
The
of those
only thing that
yeah.
matters is he's in Community.
Is he?
Yeah, he's season 6.
Oh, does he replace like Jonathan Banks or whatever?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
You want to try David Keith top 4? Do you know him
He
from
looks
anything?
so familiar, but I don't think I knew him.
I'm going to guess and say like ER or West Wing or CSI something. Like
he was in
looks like
one
those
episode of
guys.
Happy Days. I'll
Oh,
give you
okay.
that. But no, how about An Officer and a Gentleman?
Never saw it.
Mm.
He was in Behind Enemy Lines.
Oh, okay.
Oh, with the okay, yeah.
And he was in The Indian in the Cupboard.
Was he the?
Oh my God, that
Never
movie
mind.
is
That would be
ridiculous.
stupid.
And he was in the 2003 Ben Hufleck Daredevil.
Oh.
Interesting.
Oh,
I barely remember that movie. I remember Colin
Yeah.
Farrell was Bullseye, and
Yeah.
That's kind of all I
it
remember
wasn't a
from
good
it.
It
movie.
wasn't good.
No.
Yeah, no.
Dr. Joseph Wanless was played by Freddie Jones.
okay.
You know him from Dune. He played Thufir Hawat in the 1984.
Oh, did he? Okay.
The,
All right.
The Sting.
the
dude.
Mentet. Yes. All right.
He was also in The Elephant Man, and we remember him as YNYR from Krull.
Oh, sorry.
oh, he was
He's
in
the
Kroll.
old. He's the older doctor. That's,
I've already forgotten
Yeah,
all
he's
about
in the-
Kroll.
He's the one
I can't
that.
even go back and listen
I
to
know.
it, you know, because that's our missing episode.
Oh, what
And it was a really good one. It was
Yeah.
really funny.
Oh my god.
Kroll.
We like laughed the whole time.
Krull with my cousin Zach was
Yeah.
on that one.
It was Zach's first podcast with us, I think.
I
Was
think
it
you're
his
right.
first one?
I think so. So disappointing, right? It's not your fault, Andy.
It is,
Luckily, we got
but
him
It's
to
not,
come
it's
back
not.
on.
Did it
you
just
know?
like disappear into the ether?
Just can't find it.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
and it wasn't
Still
like
can't find it.
So random because it wasn't like the first one we did.
No. It wasn't
Yeah.
the first one
A
after
bunch of
Brian, but it was very early on in
Yeah.
the not
Yeah.
Brian. The only thing that's happened since then was we ran out of space on the flash drive as we were doing Star Trek 3.
Yeah, and that was we got
Oh,
20
It
minutes.
just
of it, right?
ended. I looked at the thing. I'm like, the clock's not going anymore.
like, we're not
That's
gonna-
not good.
We're not gonna have those scores. Sorry, kids.
Yeah.
They weren't as good as. Just listen to the Wrath of Khan one.
Vicky McGee was played by Heather Locklear.
Yes. When her name popped up in the credits, I was like, I don't remember.
I
her
didn't
being
remember her being
this.
in this movie
I-
either.
She's a very small part, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean,
But she had very beautiful
a boy.
feathered hair.
oh yeah, yeah.
Didn't she say something about her hair?
Yeah, he did.
He
Or
did.
he's like,
Yeah,
you
she
have
read his
beautiful hair.
mind. She looked really good. She was a very pretty woman.
This is.
I'm gonna go with Melrose Place.
Yes. Speaking of Melrose Place, it is in her top 4. How many episodes of Melrose Place was Heather Locklear in?
Okay, well,
She
I can
definitely was
tell
on the
you,
first season.
she was a guest star for her entire
Yeah.
or all her whole run on that.
Yes, but she still was in.
She was in a
it counts
lot.
as episodes.
All right,
It
I'm
counts
gonna
as an
say 95.
Okay.
I don't feel that's high enough. I feel she was on like 5 years. I'm gonna say like 125.
48.
Heather Locklear was in 199
Damn.
episodes.
I didn't know Melrose went that many seasons.
Out of
I
how
stopped
many?
watching it.
A total
after a
of
while.
219. So she missed 20 episodes.
Yeah,
The
she
first
was in the first
season.
season. Yeah,
That was only.
I feel like I stopped watching that after. Did they kill Sydney? Did Sydney die?
I'm sure she died at some point and came back.
Yeah,
Whatever.
and
I don't
that-
think Sydney's dead.
I lost all
I
the-
remember her being there at the end, I thought.
I can't remember.
They had like a big turnover of the cast at one point.
Yeah.
Like, they got like everybody left, like Andrew Shue and what's the girl's name?
Oh yeah,
Thorne
Allison
Smith.
Courtney Thorne Smith.
Courtney Thorne Smith.
Yeah.
They all left, and I was like, nah, this is the time for me to jump
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
And Michelle and I, it was funny because we just started dating at that point, and she was like, Melrose? I'm like, nah, I think I'm out. That and Beverly Hills, I kind of dropped off at the same
I
time.
watched Beverly Hills. I wasn't so much.
Yeah,
into
I watched
Melrose.
both. I like both.
Well, you were so young then. You
Yeah.
probably just like, I don't even get these concepts of these late teen, early
I
20
did watch
people.
this as a kid. I was very young watching this. I probably had no idea what was
I mean, I would have
I
never
would do a
watched these shows.
rewatch of this. I
Yeah,
think.
me too.
If
I
it
had-
was on something, I would definitely watch it like once.
They
twice
did
a week.
redo Melrose Place with
Yeah.
a newer cast.
They did
maybe
Beverly
last
Hills
season.
too,
The
again.
Beverly Hills
Yeah.
was great. I was hoping it would come back for more seasons, but they didn't pick it back
Yeah,
up.
that had a couple seasons, but Melrose I think maybe lasted a half a season.
And
if
I
that.
enjoyed the rebooted Saved by the Bell. That was a couple
yeah.
seasons over there on Peacock. I enjoyed that.
Yeah,
Which one of those shows was the one where it was like the real cast, like the making of the show?
that
Wasn't
was
one of them
Beverly
like that?
Hills.
No, they did a Saved by the Bell too.
Miniseries.
They did a Saved by the Bell one too.
Well, the one for
geez.
the miniseries was the whole cast. It was on. I remember Melissa Brown and I watched it.
Okay.
It was them being themselves. So Kelly was actually, what's her name?
Jenny Garth.
Jenny Garth, and Tori Spelling was herself, and they were like, it was them trying to get a reboot
I watched-
going.
they were at a pool.
Maybe
And I remember Jenny Garth was in a pool and she was going to hook up with somebody who was married. Brandon was married.
I don't know.
Damn.
Well, he wasn't
Shannon
Brandon
Doherty
because he
and
was
Luke
Jason
Perry are
Priestley.
gone.
Well, that's what I
crazy.
mean.
Yeah.
It was that.
But it was after Luke Perry was already dead. He died.
Oh.
And they never
And
mentioned
then the
it.
fun is just kind of not in it. At that
When they
point.
did it, and they kind of just like, oh,
To
Luke,
ignore him is
well,
ridiculous.
and they had sad face, and then that was it. They never mentioned Luke Perry again.
That's not right because they even mentioned Screech in the Saved by the Bell
Yeah.
and they didn't get along with him anymore.
Yeah.
You know, and he
'Cause,
passed. So
When I had my
Wrote that
appendix
book or
taken
whatever.
out in 1992, 3, whenever, Beverly Hills had been on for like a year or two, and then they did the summer season one year where they actually ran new episodes
remember
in the
that.
summer, which at that time was like, you didn't run anything
Yeah,
in
the
summer.
summer
because
was always
it was all
reruns,
repeats.
yeah.
And I was in the hospital having my appendix taken out, and back then, I mean, I was in the hospital for like a week, and the person next to me, but there was only one TV, so you had to kind of agree on what, and he's like, Beverly Hills? I'm like, I don't even know what that is. And I watched like 3 episodes of that because I think it was on every day that week. Got out of the hospital and I was like, I got to find out about this Super Beverly Hills show now.
Was that
I'm
when the
addicted.
kid accidentally shot himself?
Nah, that was early. That
it was
already
early
happened.
season.
Okay.
Because there were things that I had missed and I was like, I don't get
that's
this.
Brian. That's
Was it Donna Martin Graduates?
That's David
Was it that
Silver's
season?
friend.
Maybe.
He shoots
Yeah.
himself. David Silver's friend.
That's how they wrote him off
He
the
wears
show.
a
There's too many
wears a cowboy
characters.
hat.
And
Yeah.
David and his buddy were not.
No,
interesting
they needed to get rid of
characters.
one of those guys. There were too
They
many.
kept David.
Yes.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Man, he was one of the lamer characters.
He was.
He was
Really,
taking.
really.
He was
meth-
better than the other one.
He was taking
Yeah.
meth in his orange juice. He was dumping meth. in his orange juice and drinking it. I'm like, I don't think it works that way. I mean, I guess it gets into your system
In
eventually.
the reboot,
but-
Brian Austin Green was married to like a Beyonce type character.
Well, isn't he married to Megan Fox? Or
Yeah,
was
but
it?
in this
but
show, instead of it
Yeah.
being really Megan Fox, they just gave him some Beyonce type of wife.
But now it's got to be shitty. Like his ex-wife is like with Machine Gun Kelly.
Oh my
like,
God, I know.
God.
That's like your ex being with like Pete Davidson. You're like, oh my God. I'm not taking you back now.
Where did we leave off? Oh, Heather Locklear, right? Okay. Captain Hollister was played by Martin Sheen.
Yeah. Looking good. He had a very nice hairdo. That thing looked like they must have used an entire bottle of what was that spray? That hairspray back?
Aquanet?
Aquanet. Yeah, that
I was
thing
gonna say
looked.
rave.
Yeah,
Also,
that was there too. That was a good one.
Yeah, that thing looked like. I mean, nothing. I was surprised the bullet pierced his head with
Yeah,
the amount that he must have had. On
That was a
top of
crazy
the
shot.
this is our second Martin Sheen in a Steven Spielberg adaptation
Stephen
movie.
King, yes.
I'm sorry, Stephen King. Yeah,
Because he was in Dead Zone. In a kind of a similar, like political.
presidential. Yeah, he
kind
was
of
the
thing.
president in the other one,
Yeah.
or presidential candidate.
Running
I
for
should say.
president,
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Martin Sheen. And I was saying.
This is one of 6 film adaptations of a Stephen King story produced in some capacity by Dino De Laurentiis.
Okay.
His other
I saw his
movies
name in
are
the credits.
Cat's Eye from 1985, Silver Bullet from 1985. That's with Corey Haim. Maximum Overdrive, 1986, The Dead Zone, 1983, and Sometimes They Come Back in 1991.
Okay. Maximum Overdrive is what I thought we were doing when we did Repo Man. Just saying.
Oh, yeah.
When I
You
picked
didn't
that
like
movie.
Repo Man.
No,
Repo
but I
Man.
picked it because I
love
thought
Repo
it was
Man.
Maximum Overdrive.
You and Mike didn't like Repo Man.
Yeah.
Me and Andy
I
did.
like that movie.
I like that movie. Still do. Do you remember his top 4?
No.
Is,
I don't even think I could guess.
Apocalypse Now in there?
Oh,
Apocalypse Now is in there, yeah.
the President Show. The West Wing.
West Wing.
Not in there.
Interesting.
Frankie, Grace and Frankie.
Not in there.
I love that.
The
show.
Way. I don't know what that one is. The Way.
The Way.
But
Come on.
Badlands. I think that's with Sissy Spacek.
Maybe.
And The Departed.
What's the West Wing not in
right.
there
Yeah.
though?
Yeah, that's a
He was
great
great in
movie.
Departed.
Yeah.
He was in the West Wing, right? I'm not
Yeah, he was the
thinking of something else.
president.
Okay.
He was like
Yeah.
Jeb something. Jeb?
I don't know what his name was. I never watched.
I never watched
Yeah.
it either.
Yeah,
Either.
watch it.
Playing John Rainbird was George C. Scott, or you could say playing the child molester.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's the vibe he gave off. 100% creepy.
I think that's in
freaking
the
vibe.
book. I think in the book he is a child molester.
I mean,
really?
I think he
Okay.
was playing the role of a sympathetic person so that he could get Charlie to do whatever he wanted.
But I think he's this child molester in the book.
He did say something about "you're beautiful"
Oh
or
my
something
God,
like that.
yeah.
Where I was like,
He said we're gonna have
Because
some
we said-
very, very fun
Yes.
times.
And then he
together.
said to Martin Sheen, he was like, I wonder when you're done. She's young. She's beautiful.
Yeah.
"Yeah," but he said he was going to just
Stop.
smash her in the face and break her nose into her brain. I was like, "Is that really how he's going to kill her?"
With the eye patch, though, it just like added to the.
Well, it was funny
creepy
because I was
factor.
saying to Jason today because I'd watched half of this yesterday, and I was like, "What's going on with George C. Scott's eye?" Because it looks a little like
I will
milky,
tell you,
and I'm
I
like,
have that.
"But
There
then,
was something,
But
yeah.
then at one point, you can tell like he's got like a burn on the side of his face, but that kind of came and went. It wasn't always there. And he says to her at one point, "Do you want me? Would it help if I wore a mask?"
Yeah,
or something like that.
she did.
And I was like, "You're
did.
not that bad, dude."
George
I'm like, "Yeah."
George Scott wears an eye patch over his left eye during the final half hour of the film, which was due to the infection caused by the contact lens used earlier in the film. The eye was not quite healed and had to wear it to complete the filming of his scenes.
Oh.
It's so funny when
Wow.
like, you know, it's just a movie, and what the guy's going to go blind because
I know, right?
That's like going back to in Wizard of Oz. Buddy Ebsen was supposed to be the Tin Man, and he
Yeah.
was allergic to the paint, so
God,
he
yeah, it
couldn't do
almost
it.
killed him.
Yeah, that's a great story. I love that. So George C. Scott almost went blind from a stupid contact that he was wearing for.
The cast featured 3 people who had won Academy Awards. We'll get to that. We didn't.
Yeah,
get
I know
didn't
one
get
of
to
them for
all
sure.
yet.
Yeah,
All
I
right,
know.
well, I'll get to that question in a bit. But do you want to try George Scott's top 4?
Well, definitely Patton, which he did win an Oscar
Patton
for
is-
best
yes.
actor. That's really the only thing that I can
Yeah.
definitely name. I know
The Hustler,
Okay.
The Changeling, and The Exorcist 3.
Oh my God!
Oh.
I forgot he was in Exorcist 3, and I love that movie. That is like I saw that in the theater and almost ran out screaming. Man. There was a jump scare in that movie that I still to this day like get freaked out about. Yeah, he was great in that too.
Playing Irv Manders was Art Carney.
Yeah, Hey Norton. That was weird that all of a sudden he
The
popped
Honeymooners is not in his top 4, which I find ridiculous. Harry and Tonto, Firestarter, Going in Style, and The Last Action Hero.
I was gonna say he's Arnold's like uncle or something like that in Last Action Hero.
Oh,
Can you tell me how many episodes of The Honeymooners was Art Carney in?
I don't know how many episodes of Honeymooners there were.
I don't
Like
think I watched
25 or something like that. The's not a lot of Honeymooners episodes.
28.
it. 17.
39, all 39 episodes, one season. That's one
Okay.
season. He
Yeah.
did 39 episodes. He was also in Batman. He was in 2 episodes. He was
was
the
he-
Archer
Okay.
in the original
All right, yep.
Batman.
Oh, the
Adam
one
West
from the
Batman.
yeah.
Adam West one. Yeah.
He was in an episode of The Twilight Zone, season 2, episode 11, The Night of the Mech. And that's Santa Claus he plays in his episode.
Oh,
Oh.
I don't
Yeah,
remember
he's
that.
drunk Santa Claus.
Aren't they doing something with J.K. Simmons now with the same plot? Is that Red One?
He also played Son Dan in the Star Wars Holiday Special
That's right.
from 1978. That's where we first meet Boba Fett, but that's the only good thing you get from that.
Wait, the Wookiee jerking off to like
That
what was
wasn't
it?
good,
Was it
yeah.
Dionne Warwick or who was dancing? Donna Summers?
Dionne Warwick,
Is it Dionne Warwick?
Yeah.
And the Wookiee's just sitting there. It's like
B. Arthur.
It's like Corey Feldman in the final chapter the other day when he's just like jumping on the bed, like pounding his
Oh
head.
my God.
Like, and this was a Wookiee doing this to like a human,
That was a
which I
great
wouldn't think
movie.
like those
That's
would
weird.
trans.
You didn't like Final Chapter, did you? Or did you?
No, I
You
did.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's right.
Yeah, I did.
We all liked it. That's right.
Yeah.
But why would a Wookiee be turned on by a human woman? That's
I don't
what
know, but they
wanted
do
to know.
show a
I don't
Wookiee.
know. There are some humans that are turned on by animals, so
There
You
is
are
a
not wrong.
It is a Wookiee masturbation scene
Yeah.
in the Star Wars Holiday
Yeah,
Special.
it's,
Nuh-uh.
it's one of the creepiest things you'll ever see.
The first 11 minutes of this
Look, it's
show.
Stacey's grabbing the pen. She's like Star Wars.
I'm sorry.
Holiday
What's the
Special.
Wookiee sex scene?
It's
Is it on
very hard to
Pornhub?
find, though.
The first 11
skip
minutes of
to
this
it?
movie, there's no dialogue. It's just
Wookiees
sounds
talking.
that the Wookiees make.
No subtitles either. It was
Yes.
crazy. We watched that.
Star Wars Holiday Special.
Yeah, we watched that for this
Wanna write that one
podcast.
down,
Yeah,
We
I
did it
didn't
special.
watch it,
but
yeah.
You weren't on yet.
No, thank
when
God.
Brian was here, we did that.
And then up
special.
next, we had playing Irv Manders' wife, Norma Manders, was Louise Fletcher.
Yeah, another Academy
I knew her
Award
from
winner.
something.
The
Well,
boy who
she's-
could fly, right?
Was she the mom of the boy
the
who could fly?
doctor.
No, that's not what I knew her from.
But she's Nurse Ratchet from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's
Yeah.
Well, I knew her from
Flowers in the Attic.
Flowers in the Attic. But
The grandmother.
she's the grandmom.
She is.
Yeah.
Is she still alive? She's not. Probably
She
still
passed in 2022 at 88.
alive. Wow.
Wow. I didn't know she was the boy who could fly. She was in the boy who could fly.
She was in Cruel Intentions.
Oh. Okay.
And she was also in 14 episodes of Deep Space Nine.
Star
But yeah,
Trek.
she played Dr. Granada in The Boy Who Could Fly.
I love that movie. You ever see that movie, Andy?
I've never even heard of it.
I seen that one.
Yeah,
I
it's a
like
great
that.
Why
movie.
you say is that something I would never
It's just
watch?
a terrible movie
It's
from
a
our
cheesy-
childhood.
Cheesy movie.
It's
Like, he
Never
could
Ending
literally
Story, something like
fly.
It's not as cheesy as that.
that. Okay.
Was Fred Savage the little brother? Or was it just a nobody?
I don't remember anybody
Okay.
being in that.
Yeah.
Other than him, but I'm gonna look that up as you talk about the taxi driver. I mean, as you talk about Dr. Pinchot, played by Moses Gunn.
Okay.
Who's that? I
The big,
remember
the big tall
name.
black guy that
Oh, right,
got
right,
blown
right.
up in the golf cart at
Yes,
the end.
good. Oh, God, he's dead.
Now he's like one of those guys that looked familiar. Like as I'm looking at him, I'm like, man, I know this guy from something, but I don't know what I know him from.
I didn't recognize
His
him.
top 4 was Shaft,
okay.
Rollerball, Heartbreak Ridge, and Ragtime. But he played in 6 episodes of Good Times. He was Carl Dixon, the guy who was dating Florida after James died.
James
Yeah.
died. Wow.
Oh.
Okay.
Yep.
JJ
And-
okay with that?
He played Chiron in The Neverending Story, since you were just talking about The Neverending
Wow.
Story.
Wait,
Okay.
who is Chiron?
He was the black guy with the white hair.
Was that like the leader,
Oh, yeah.
the leader
Yeah,
of the group
yeah,
that
yeah.
sent him on the
Yep.
mission or
Yeah.
something like
Okay.
that? Okay. Yeah.
And he was in Leonard Part 6.
Bill Cosby.
Leonard.
Leonard Part 6 is a Bill Cosby
Bill
movie.
Cosby
Oh,
There was no
okay,
Part
never
1 through 5.
Yeah.
Oh,
This
okay.
was- that was-
All right.
This was part.
Yeah, I never
part
heard of
6.
I never
It
heard
was a
of
cheesy
Leonard.
Bill Cosby.
It was terrible.
80s movie, yeah.
Now, did you mention that the wife was Nurse Ratchet from One Flew Over the
You
Cuckoo's
mentioned
Nest?
it.
But she won the Oscar for that.
She won the
so-
Oscar for.
I'm
that was
just
my-
keeping
that was
track.
my
I'm
que-
keeping
that was my
track of who won the
question. Thank you.
Oscars. Yeah.
The cast featured 3 people who had won Academy Awards for acting. George C. Scott and Art Carney had won Best Actors for Patton and Harry and Tonto,
Okay.
and respectively. And Louise Fletcher had won a Best Actress Oscar for One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest in 75. So Patton in 70, Harry and Tonto in 74, and Cuckoo's Nest in 75.
So these guys are all cashing in on that fame to do Firestarter. I mean, it's 10 years later.
75 is Cuckoo's Nest is a great movie. I'll put that in my top 10.
That's a great movie. The Art Carney movie, I always heard that he won an Oscar. I don't know that
Harry and
movie at
Tonto,
all.
I don't know that movie either.
But
I've heard of
like
it.
I can't not see him and see him as Ed
Think
Norton.
he's a Nazi?
Maybe. But I can't not see him
Thank you.
as
Thank you very much.
Norton. And so like I'm like, how'd that dude win an Oscar? He's just, hey, Ruffy boy. Like, that's all I can think of as Art Carney as. So I'm like, they gave him an Oscar?
That's what I think Justin Long's podcast was called in Tusk, the Nazi podcast.
Nuts.
Oh, jeez.
That's a great movie, Tusk. We should do that one.
I don't want to. I'm
Play-
tired of watching these movies.
See Tusk?
No,
Write that one down.
I'm gonna.
Poor Dana. Dana's suffering through this
You just
podcast.
wrote Tusk down. That's a good one. Antonio Fargas played the taxi driver.
Yes, I know him.
You know him from where?
Well, he's definitely in
Foxy Brown.
I'm Gonna Get You Sucker.
Yes.
He's the pimp who's
That's in his
wearing
top four.
he's wearing the shoes with the goldfish in them that are dead already. And he's also in another spoof movie. He is in Don't Be a Menace to the Boys in the Hood while they're drinking the juice in South Central. He is I think his name's Old School
Yes,
or
Old
something
School.
like that. He's
Exactly
like
it, yep.
he's like where they're hanging out on his porch and then he's like and the mom is like, you get in here, Old School. And he's like, all right, Mom. Like, he's the old man.
It's
He's
funny.
listening to his mom still. Yeah.
He was in 27 episodes of Everybody Hates Chris. I never watched that.
I never watched it either. I see
That
it's
wasn't
back now
that-
as a cartoon.
Yeah.
And he was in all 92 episodes of Starsky and Hutch.
Oh, he's Huggy Bear.
Yeah.
Damn, I totally forgot
Oh,
about that.
huh.
Yeah.
Up next was Drew Snyder. He played Orville Jameson.
Listen, if you're going to go deep into this cast, there's like 50 cops in this, and each one of them, I was like, I know that dude from something, but
All right, so this one,
they're all
this
like
was the one that
nothing.
was in Commando and War Games and Nixon.
Okay,
If that helps.
sure.
Then I had Keith Colbert playing Mayo. He wasn't in anything we knew. Dick Warlock was in Inner Space and Escape from New York and The Thing. Dick Warlock's in The
Yeah, I
Thing.
think I remember that face in this. I mean, he's one of the guys that gets burned up at the farm
Okay.
when she kills all the guys at the
Yeah.
farm. He's one of those guys.
All right.
Because like I saw guys, I'm like, oh, I know him
Yeah.
from something, but they were like, it's like knowing like the background character and
Yeah, like the next one, Jeff Ramsey played Steinowitz, Inner Space, and The Fugitive.
okay.
And then I had Jeff Magner played a young serviceman. He was in Amityville 2, The Possession. He had a top 2. And the serviceman's girlfriend was just in Firestarter. That's it. She probably was his real life girlfriend.
I'm just. Oh, is that the guy that she set his shoes on fire
The
at the
serviceman, yeah. I
at
guess
the airport?
yeah, the gas station. Or
Remember he's
Airport.
yelling at his
Put his feet out in the
girlfriend
toilet.
because she got pregnant. He's like, how dare you and blah blah blah. And then yeah.
And she said, speaking of that scene, she said, I didn't do it on purpose. I didn't do it on purpose. Yes, you did. You set him on fire. You were eavesdropping the entire conversation.
Oh, I thought you
were
meant the
listening to-
girl said
no,
she didn't get
Drew
pregnant on purpose.
Barrymore set him on fire on purpose. So she kept telling her dad, I didn't do it on purpose.
You
You
had to.
eavesdropped. You were watching them the entire time. And you realized
didn't want to set him on
she was
fire.
yes, she did. She was like, this bastard. And she set him on fire.
This was Heather Locklear's film debut.
Really?
Yes.
I thought you had already. Oh, no, never mind.
And Martin Sheen took over at a late stage from Burt Lancaster, who had to withdraw following heart surgery. So originally that was going to be Burt Lancaster.
I didn't know Burt Lancaster lasted that long into the 80s to be cast in this movie. I kind of remember
I'm
when
not
he
sure
died.
who he is.
And then it was Art Carney's idea for his character to wear a hehearing aid since he personally needed one because he couldn't hear. So they
Yeah.
decided to
I don't
That
think-
was really his idea. Yeah.
Can I wear this thing so I can hear what's going on? They're like, yeah, that's a good idea. Will that ruin my character?
Yeah.
No, you're good. That's better than having to wear a fake contact that's going to give you an eye infection.
They used a little person for
Her stunt double.
Drew Barrymore.
Yeah.
There are times where when he's carrying her, especially the dad, where it
Yeah.
looks like he's carrying a board.
Yeah.
Like it's just a
Yeah.
stiff. I'm like, no human being lays like that in someone's arms because
she has a you see the ColecoVision box at one point. She's playing a game on the ColecoVision. Do you know
I
what
purposely
video game?
tried to see what
I
it was,
did
but I
not see
couldn't
it.
tell.
Wow.
was that when George C. Scott's like, I'll play with you later or something
Yeah.
like that. I could not get a visual on what it
Playing
was.
in her room. ColecoVision game console. The game is called Slither from 1982.
I wouldn't know even if I saw
It
it.
sounded like looping. I remember that game. That was a game where you were in a plane, but it wasn't. I guess they had a similar sound to it. But yeah, It was Slither.
Thanks.
I felt that there was
Oh, and they got George C. Scott because Dino De Laurentiis went directly to Universal Pictures to request an additional $1 million so they could cast him in the film. So they paid a lot of money for him.
there was also another name in the credits. They didn't have anything. I think they were a producer, but Frank Capra Jr. Frank Capra is the guy that directed like It's a Wonderful Life and stuff like that with
okay.
Jimmy Stewart way
he
back in the
producer?
day. I don't know. His
Yeah,
name
I saw
like,
his name
It was
as
like
a
filmed
producer
by
or something,
Frank
yeah.
Capra Jr. I'm like, is that like Frank Capra's kid? And it certainly is. I was like, oh, I looked it up. I'm like,
Do you remember the movie Savannah Smiles?
I love that movie. That's where the little girl gets in the back seat of the convicts who are on the run.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I was a kid, I watched that a lot.
That was Bridget Anderson who played that. She tried out for the role of Charlie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
She didn't advance as far as Heather O'Rourke, I guess.
I don't think she did anything after Savannah Smiles.
Not that I'm aware of.
That movie broke my heart as a kid all the time.
Aw.
So sad.
They said all the film's special effects were done on set as there was no CGI during this time. Everything was done with the use of real fire, remote-controlled prosthetics, wires, gas lines, and actual stunt people.
Well, it was better than the fire in Children of the Corn, which was like pixelated digital
yeah.
fire.
They looked
That was almost like,
Yeah,
like,
it was
Someone
terrible.
drew it on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who plays Joan?
Oh,
that
I know
Heather
who Joan
Locklear?
is because I wrote that down. I said, Joan, you won't remember any of this. Go back in the house. She's bleeding profusely from the ear. So that was when he went home and found his wife dead. Drew Barrymore was at Joan's house.
Oh,
and then
she comes
Joan
out of the
comes
house, and I say
bleeding
she's got
from her
blood
head.
all down
Yeah.
her face. I was like, you might want to tell her to clean that off.
No,
first,
he just
but
says you won't remember any
Yeah.
of this, except when she
looks
goes
in the mirror
inside.
and she's like,
she's
how did
gonna
I
be
get? How did I get all this blood on my head?
like maybe I should go to the hospital. I'm bleeding from my ear.
So I have down in one of my notes is that, and I don't remember exactly what was going on here, but the futuristic music, I guess they had that keyboard that, like in the first like 20 minutes
Yeah.
of the music, it was
The name of the band was,
stop. I don't even know if it was band. It was just synth music. It wasn't like they were singing or anything. Oh my God, so annoying. And then when then it was just the two of them on their own, there was no music. I don't know, whatever.
How long did his powers last on somebody?
I'm sorry, Tangerine Dream is the name of the band that did the soundtrack.
Oh yeah, I saw that in the credits. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it doesn't wear off.
Yeah, because-
she was ready to go
Yeah.
fly away with him.
Exactly. Like everyone he met, that when he told him to do something, it was like no fear of it wearing off in 10 minutes and then remembering and coming to get whatever
And there
happened.
were no safeguards around him being just like sitting in the room.
Yeah, why didn't every single person that walked through the door, why didn't he just say, let
guess
me
it
go?
was, I guess it was the medication. I guess the medication
Oh, that's
was
right. When they forced him to swallow a pill,
But-
why wouldn't he just shoot him up with it?
That was
And they-
insane that they made him like he was a dog. Like there was,
Yeah.
they rubbed his throat. And then when they did it,
But
I
they
was
never
like, wait a minute,
checked.
does that work
like
on people?
they checked, in
Yeah.
every other movie you see people taking pills.
Yeah.
lift up their tongues and make you see that there's no pill there. But he was just able to like spit it out in the toilet. I was like, that won't come back to haunt them.
But yeah, I didn't understand why it was a pill anyway. They should have been injecting it.
it said no stuntmen were actually hurt during the making of this film.
Dude, Michelle just texted me this.
What?
Are you sitting down?
It was. I had a feeling it was coming soon.
Pete Rose dead at 83.
Oh, I saw him in Vegas a couple years
Oh my
ago.
God, Pete Rose. He was like one of my favorites growing up.
That's sad. At 83, man. Wow.
Someone else
Long
just
life.
died recently too. A couple people.
Dikembe Mutombo died.
the
Yes,
Yeah,
the
he was
Dikembe
like a
Mutombo.
baseball- he had brain
cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
He was
the
great.
the older woman actress,
Maggie Smith.
Maggie Smith.
Oh, Maggie
yeah,
Smith.
yeah.
Excuse me, Dame Maggie.
Yeah.
Dame Maggie Smith. I'm sorry, Dame Maggie
And
Smith.
there was a guy that died earlier in the week too because
A soap opera, a very well known. I didn't know
I don't
who he
know about
was,
that.
but
Oh, he's an older gentleman, right?
yeah.
Oh, by
he
the way,
was
it just
like-
dawned on me who the other person in the Brad Pitt George Clooney movie is. Richard Kind.
Oh.
For like
He's best friends with George Clooney.
yeah, he's in it for
Oh,
like
okay.
a minute. He's in it for a minute. He's
He's in something I watched recently.
he's the father
He
of
was
the
in.
kid that's
Wasn't
at
he
the-
in Murders?
Oh,
last
that's who
season?
that
yes,
is?
he's in
Oh,
Murders this
yeah.
season. That's where I know him from.
and he's wearing a
in-
patch in that. Him and George C. Scott must
He
be
is
sharing
wearing
the
a
patch.
patch. That's right.
But as soon as I saw his name in the credits, I just was saying like, George, come over to my apartment. I love his voice. He's great.
he
Where
went
are
to
we?
Pennsbury High School, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's a Jersey boy.
Oh, we were talking about his powers. Why did when he first gets to his house? First of all, he goes to his house and it's all torn apart. Obviously, some event happened there. He goes looking for his wife. The way they put his wife, Like they staged her in a closet
in the
on
iron
the
closet thing.
the ironing board, so that when it came out, she fell down and was dead. But before that, he looked in the washing machine. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Why are you looking in the washing machine? Like,
And he saw it was going like this. He was like,
Yeah.
but yeah, they really staged her body in a very weird way that didn't make any kind of sense. I wasn't.
Why
sure
would
how
they
did
kill
that.
her? Why would they want? I didn't understand why they weren't trying to like
Take her
activate
too.
his powers.
Yeah.
Like they were just like, we want your daughter, but you can like
Yeah, she
change
can-
people. Like you drop that dude into Russia and just tell him to like surrender everything to me.
Yeah.
You know, you could take over the world in a day.
Yeah.
Setting it on fire, you have to clean up a lot afterwards.
I don't know if it's like the most useful skill.
It's not. Controlling people's minds is.
Yeah, I would
Yes.
think I would prefer that one if I
Yeah.
had to choose.
Reading
Me-
people's minds was good too.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
prefer that. Well, I don't know. I don't want to know what people think of me.
I'm going to fly. In a TV interview, David Keith stated that in the barn scene where he's dying and Charlie has to cry, Drew Barrymore had trouble bringing forth tears, so she asked Keith if he could give her a spanking just before the cameras
Oh my
rolled,
God.
so she could really cry. Keith obliged.
She was probably all coked up by this time anyway. So yeah.
Ripe old
I
age of
think-
8. Yeah.
Dear
I think
God.
she tried coke at like 10 or 11.
Yeah.
I think.
You guys, I obviously agreed with you guys because I have George C. Scott sounds like a perv in the middle of my notes here.
He really did.
I guess I forgot about that.
I got
part.
the ick from him. Like they could have just, I don't know, put an onion near her eye, like had her chop an onion, not have some random shirt. And at one point, when he catched her and fell down a hill, which he shouldn't have fallen after catching her.
Yes, that's when they almost
It was
fall into
ridiculous.
traffic. Yes.
And then when they're laying on the ground and she gets him out of the road,
Yeah.
he kisses her on the mouth. Which, yeah, I get it's your daughter, and if it is your own daughter, that makes sense. But in this movie,
didn't
he
seem
grabbed
right.
her face and kissed her on the mouth. That was disgusting.
I've never kissed my kids on the lips.
No, I mean,
That's aggressive.
This is
yeah.
awkward, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, it was a very aggressive too. The way he kissed her.
I do smack them on the ass still to this day when they walk by me. Very, very hard.
That's a
I
Tom
mean,
Brady thing. That's a New England.
Yeah.
Sportsmanlike conduct. What do you want?
But yeah, when she jumped off of that cliff or the side of the road,
Yeah,
there's
she
no
jumps into
reason
the
he
front.
should have fallen down the
And
hill
he was
like
like
that.
so out of it. Then all of a sudden, right before the truck gets to him,
I know.
I was like, that's how the kid gets it in Pet Cemetery.
so at some point, R. Carney dumps the fact that his wife's infertile to Charlie. Like he's like, oh, I'd like you to be my kid. We weren't able to have kids.
Yeah.
She wasn't able to have children.
Yeah,
I was
it's
like,
like-
oh, dude,
again,
like,
Yeah. Do you want to come over for lunch?
like nice to meet you.
yeah, yeah.
and then Andy tells I want to say Norton, R. Carney,
Yeah.
like the whole thing. Like he tells him the whole like story about their powers and stuff like that. I'm like, you're very trusting that this
Yeah.
guy's.
I'll stand with you. I'll get my shotgun. I'll stand with you.
You don't have a warrant?
Yeah.
Like,
First, speaking of that scene, those men, 25 men showed up. Every one of them knew that she was a fire starter, that she could just set you on fire. None of them. No one even had a fire extinguisher.
That's like they never had
Nothing.
fire
No
extinguishers
water, no
around
no
ever.
protection. But there's one scene where she sets water on fire.
yeah.
That made no sense. The
I-
bathtub.
no,
how do
notice
you
that
set?
as well.
Is there a case where
set
water
the ice
can
on
set
fire,
on
too.
fire? I don't
I
understand.
mean, something has to be in that water to make it catch fire.
It was a
but-
bathtub, which I assumed is in case a human caught on fire, they could just jump in there. But she set that
But,
water on
yeah,
fire.
but they didn't know that she needed that to like cool down or whatever she needed to
Yeah.
bring the powers back.
Back off.
Yeah.
Back
But
off.
I was thinking about that with the fire extinguisher when they sent the 3 guys into the barn with the fire resistant suits,
Yeah, yeah.
which immediately caught on fire.
Yeah.
I'm like, you would have thought at least someone would have brought a fire extinguisher with them just in case. Not for those guys, but maybe
Yeah.
anybody else that
You
might
know
catch on
what, you
fire.
know what you're walking into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just ill prepared.
I'm out of notes. kid.
She had a fire extinguisher in her own room that she was locked in, though.
Yeah.
There was a fire extinguisher in that room, so I guess she could use it for if she accidentally sets her doll on fire.
I didn't.
Otherwise-
I didn't do it on purpose.
So I didn't love her in this movie. I just found her to be a really annoying kid. I don't know.
Yeah.
yeah, she.
And it's not her fault. I guess
mean-
it was written that way, but like
Yeah.
she was just kind of whiny.
I did like her in the next movie she's in, which I think is next year, Cat's Eye.
Oh,
Yeah.
great
She was
cat's
good in
eye.
that.
I liked her in E.T. I thought she was great.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
E.T.
She was
Yeah.
good in E.T.
Yeah. But Cat's Eye, I'm excited to watch that because I
I
remember
like
liking
that.
that, but I haven't
Yes.
seen it in so long, so I'm hoping.
I
it
just
holds
remember
up.
bits and pieces.
So the lake house they went to there, why was the water so green? It was like toxic waste
was,
green.
really? Yeah.
It wasn't like a little bit of algae. It was like neon green.
That was like-
that's,
yeah.
that's a little scary looking.
It was like almost like they were in like antifreeze.
Yeah. And I think the biggest problem with this movie was that they spent way too much time in the middle, just kind of like
They jump right to the middle too,
and
they skip the beginning because you don't know where this really starts.
Oh, I don't mean I don't have a problem with the way they started the movie with them already like in mid chase. I'm cool with that. I thought
I like that.
I thought that was kind of fun. I mean, like after they caught them, and like there's too much time where they're separated, where all they're doing is saying like, "I want to see her. I want to see my dad. I want to see her. I want to see my dad." I'm like, you need one scene of that, and then get to the next thing.
Yeah.
But there's like
They did
four
the-
scenes where
yeah.
they just keep going back and forth and back and forth. And I guess they're trying to set up George C. Scott as like the trusting guy.
That was their montage.
But that went for nothing. Like, you know, he didn't factor into it at all because he didn't sneak her out. You know, the agent that she burned his hand to drop the gun snuck him out. And I mean, I guess George C. Scott shot the dad, but
Yeah.
like you could have just had him shoot he could have been in the barn waiting for him anyway, and you didn't need all those kind of setup of where he's good
like
old
you said,
custodian
there's
John.
Too many random guys just throwing it out there so that you could kill him or set him on fire. That's all. That's all those people put out.
Well, I mean, yeah, she had like 100 people on her death count. That was nice.
Yeah.
For like
and
an
also,
8-year-old.
they had no reason to kill that mailman. They could have gotten that mail any
mailman.
other way.
Oh,
Thank you.
yeah. Oh, they strangled
Yeah,
in like
for
2
why?
seconds.
Yeah.
Like that dude even put up a fight.
No.
Why did they do that? What was that, to get a letter
They had
or something
letters
like
that
that?
they were sending to like media.
Oh, New York Times and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah. And that was another thing at the very end when R. Carney brings her to the New York Times. He's like, "You made it, Charlie." And I was like, who's going to believe an 8-year-old? Like, what's she going to say? Well, I guess she can set things on
Yeah,
fire.
she's gonna
You
have
can show
set things
that
on
she can
fire.
set things on fire, but it's going to be a little harder to say there's a barn with my dad's burnt corpse in it that you
But then she killed everybody anyway.
that is
So it's
true.
like she fixed the problem.
Yeah, it's over.
Yeah, and
Stop thinking about fire.
1,000 like business women came running out of that house. Like they had a house full of secretaries or something, and when the house caught on fire, like a ton of secretaries came running out in the middle of the night. I didn't understand why they were there.
The White House
The
house
White
there?
House,
Oh.
yeah.
Well, all the guys were out there getting set on
Yeah.
fire. Like each one of them had their own
And the
secretary.
secretary was in there. Like I
You think they're
didn't
just sitting
understand.
there like doing their nails?
And there
like,
was also- yeah.
Where do you think Keith is tonight? Oh, he's out trying to catch that little fire girl. Like, cigarette.
Yeah,
There was several Stephen King adaptations based on his books or original screenplays that were produced or released within an 8-year period starting in 1976, including Carrie, Salem's Lot, The Shining, Christine, Cujo, The Dead Zone, and this film.
You know,
Okay.
Stephen King always had that reputation of bad adaptations of his movies, but like the first 5 or 6 that you mentioned, they were all great movies, like Carrie and Shining and
Salem's Lot.
Christine,
Salem's Lot,
Salem's
yeah.
Lot,
Misery was great.
Misery.
Oh.
Pet
but like
Sematary was good,
Dead
too.
Zone, I don't think was that
That
great.
song was terrible. I read the book, watched the movie right after. I was
and this
so
was
mad.
not great. And then it
I really
kinda
enjoyed
started-
Cujo.
Yeah,
Cujo was great.
Cujo was
Yes,
good.
Cujo
I
was
think
great.
this was kind of like the beginning of the like reputation of they can't adapt him correctly, but
Yeah.
I don't think that was earned before this.
I think right then he was hot. This was
Yeah,
this was
for
his,
sure.
Yeah. I would be curious to read the book and see
Oh,
the
Firestarter.
differences. Yeah. Is this a full length book? It's not one of his short
I think
stories.
it is. I think it's
Yeah.
full. Like I don't even know. Like this is one I never had a desire to. I
Yeah.
probably saw the movie first way back when I was young. And I was
Yeah.
like, nah, I don't need to see that.
I
or
saw
read
the
that book.
recent one with Zac Efron.
I heard it was horrible.
It was.
Oh,
bad.
there was a Zac Efron one?
Yes, there
Who's he
was.
playing? The dad?
Really?
Yeah. he played
Who was
dad.
the child?
I don't know.
So like Zoe Grace, whatever.
Chloe
don't know who it
Grace
Chloe Grace
Moretz.
Moretz or something. Or
No, it was recent. I
McKenna
think it was,
Grace,
like,
maybe. I'm gonna I need
2
to-
years ago.
Is it the exact same plot? Is it the exact same thing?
Pretty much. It's a little different. They handle it a little.
I wonder.
It was 2022.
It was,
Yeah.
Oh, it was a COVID
It's 18
movie.
years after this.
No.
Oh, so it's not a remake. It's
38.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
like, that's not enough. That's not enough years. That doesn't even get you out of this century.
Did you guys know? When in the very beginning scene where he has the dollar bill and he hands it to the cab driver, I didn't know that $500 bills were real. I was like, oh, that's silly. He gave.
They're not a
I
lot.
don't- I don't think they
I
make
don't
it
think
anymore.
they're
it's still
accepted in
used. They're not legal
circulation.
tender
Yeah.
now, but they were at one time, and I think there aren't many.
I mean, hundreds of the highest
Yeah,
that
'cause
are in
I-
regular
Is
circulation,
that
but
even real money?
but then why wouldn't you just say $100? I mean, like I guess that guy didn't care. He thought he
That
was
was
getting.
Huggy.
I also feel like in 1984, $500 bills were not in circulation, but he was being mind controlled anyway. So,
Firestarter from 1980 is 428 pages.
oh, okay.
Oh, that's not,
Not bad.
terrible.
No, I thought it was going to be longer.
Yeah,
than that.
usually there's like 1,000 pages.
I'm looking up who's on the $500 bill.
Do you guys
you
have any
please let
more
me know?
notes or no?
I just have some stupid stuff like the amount of hitchhiking people did back then was just crazy.
And people were just willing to like just pick people up. Yeah.
And especially if when I go up to the first car and the guy's like, "Oh, what a pretty young girl you have there," is the first thing they say to me. Like, I'm gonna pass on getting in front of you.
I'll see the next car.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But every time throughout this movie, every time they were in a situation and the guys were coming to get them, every time it was like just a near miss. And then they got away in the nick of time every time. Who is that?
William McKinley, who was the president before Theodore Roosevelt.
Oh.
He was the last president assassinated before the movie President Jiff.
Oh, and he didn't even get to keep his money.
That's probably
that was a
people
Kelly
collect
Bundy
them. They're
one.
probably like all like.
I think
wrapped
when
up
they were like this big, you know, when the
I remember
money used
those,
to be
yeah.
like really big. But yeah, like every time like he either got in a car or went around the corner or jumped off the side of the road, then the car would, was always right there. Just always in the nick of time with this movie. But the one time, and every time the little girl, she was psychic, right? Because she could also tell when they were close by.
Yeah, that's
Except
what she was
for-
getting from her dad, right?
Except for when
It was useful.
it was useful when the guy was going to tranquilize her and she's running down the dock all happy and her and her dad get tranquilized.
Yeah.
You didn't see that coming?
Maybe
Come on.
he was too far away. Maybe she
I
has
guess.
to be in the area.
I just thought of like old school and Will Ferrell got shot.
Oh my God. That is the best tranquilizer shot in any movie.
100%.
And Stifler's like, oh.
And he just hears like, that's so funny. Should we get the scores then?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Who wants to start us off? Did Tara or Michelle watch?
No.
No? Okay.
Michelle watched the first half last
So
night.
she didn't want to give
She
the
fell,
story.
she fell asleep. I mean, she probably fell asleep 10
Ashley
minutes
saw the
in.
last 25 minutes because,
I'll start us off
was
then.
rocking
I'm
her
going to
baby.
give this movie, it's better than Chud,
oh yeah,
but I was
that was my baseline.
But I was.
This is actually
I was,
a movie.
I was
Yeah.
very bored with this movie
Yeah.
at times, so I'm going to give this movie a little better score than I gave Chud. I gave Chud a 49. This movie is getting a 51.
Okay.
Obviously it's better than Chud. I didn't enjoy this. I felt like, again, they needed an editor to take out like 20 minutes in the middle there where tighten it up a little.
Too long. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not terrible. I probably will never watch it again. I give it a 60.
I have the exact same feeling about it. It
Yeah.
was kind of boring. There were times where I hit that fast forward 10-second button a couple
my
times. I'm like, 10 seconds.
Doesn't
10 seconds.
Brian watch all his movies on like double
I
speed
wish
the
I
whole
could,
time?
but
said-
I don't have that
he said he would
ability.
watch some of them.
Yeah.
do
He would watch some at double speed, but then when nudity came on the screen, he would stop.
Down to
course,
half,
Yeah,
half
yeah,
speed.
Back to
that
half
makes
speed.
sense, yeah.
I never understood how you could watch it on double speed and the voices weren't
He was
going.
watching it on his computer somehow. I don't know what.
Well, it's like when I read audiobooks, I put them on like 1.5
I
speed.
also do that.
So it doesn't really alter the voice that much. It's not terrible.
Like you don't want to put it on double because double will be.
Sometimes, yeah. I have, when I get to the end and I'm like, I just need a book to be over, I will put it on 2 times speed. And it's not Alvin and the Chipmunks, but it's fast. So anyway, this movie was boring. I'll never watch it again. Maybe I'll read the book because I kind of like to know the differences, or at least I'll Google it. So I gave it a 60. It was definitely way better than Chud, but not
Yes.
that great.
I didn't see Chud, but I'm assuming it wasn't the crowd favorite.
No.
I was bored. There wasn't anything really about it like that grasped me that I would definitely never watch it again.
Yeah.
Considering I also saw the one that was made in 2022.
Yeah.
I gave it a 55.
So
scores.
Rotten Tomatoes, I went to the wrong one. The 2022
2022?
version has a 10.
Oh.
Tomato with a 47 from the audience. But the role of
I got the other one for this one is 40 from the critics and 53 from the audience.
okay,
Yeah.
So
About what we
Zac Efron was the dad. I don't know who Ryan Kira Armstrong is, but that was Charlie. And the role for
Is Charlie a kid?
Yeah.
yeah, I
Charlie
mean,
was the
girl,
little
yeah,
girl.
I know, but was she a kid?
Oh,
in this too?
yeah.
Oh,
She was- I think she was a
still
little
looks young.
older.
She looks like Katie Holmes, like as a
Okay.
child.
Oh, yeah.
She does.
Kurtwood Smith played
really?
Martin Sheen.
Nice.
So
Who is
Red,
that?
Red
The dad from, 70 Show.
70 Show.
Oh, okay. I didn't know his real name.
And I'm just seeing if anybody else played any. I mean, I don't know who Michael
Or RoboCop,
Razor
but you
is.
probably would have known he was a RoboCop.
He was in RoboCop? No, I don't remember that.
John Beasley played the.
And the guy from Beverly Hills Cop just died. John
Oh, yes, that
That's
was the other one.
person I was thinking about.
That's what
John
I was thinking
Aston.
of.
Yeah, that's sad, man. He looked terrible in that.
He didn't look good in the
movie,
latest
man. Oh my
one.
god,
Did you watch the newest one?
No. Oh, he was in the newest one too.
he's the chief of police now.
Oh.
Yeah, but he looked when fat guys get old and lose weight and they get all that like hanging skin, all he had like that neck, the like, yeah, he did
Turkey
not.
neck?
Yeah, but more than
Judge
the turkey
Reinhold and
neck.
Eddie Murphy looked great, obviously.
And
Yeah.
Judge Reinhold was hardly in it, right? Wasn't he
he
like
was only in
kidnapped the whole
car,
time?
really. So next week, you want to tell us what's up, or
So I'm hoping. We're still in the planning stages, but I think we're going to have my sister and my nephew on for Dreamscape.
Awesome.
She
requested it. You said.
Well, she texted me the other day, and she's like, "You want to go to Top Golf this weekend?" I was like, "No, but okay, if you want to go to Top Golf, we'll go. Where is it?" She's like, "Oh, down by you." I'm like, "Oh, you're coming all the way down here?"
Where's she live?
Like North Jersey, like Stewartsville. So I was just like, oh, okay, you want to come down here? Fine, we'll do that. I was like, but you got to, if you're going to come down, you got to come on for a podcast too. And so she's like, what do you got left? And I was like, we're doing horror movies right now. And I gave her a list. She's like, Dreamscape? She's like, I love that movie. I'm like, cool.
Is this a Stephen King?
Nah, it's not
didn't
Wes Craven.
have
It's not Wes Craven.
He didn't have a book, something Dreamscape, or
Nightmares and Dreamscapes. But this is.
But that is not this.
This is not
Okay,
this. But
got
it's
it.
Dennis Quaid, right? Dennis Quaid and.
Oh, I love that era of Dennis Quaid.
Not Reagan.
I don't like current Dennis Quaid.
Max von Sydow.
Max von Sydow. But it looks like a Wes
Christopher
Craven
Plummer.
movie, but it's
Okay.
not.
It's Joseph Rubin is the director.
I remember
Okay,
always.
awesome.
I always remember thinking this was a predecessor
He also
to
directed
Nightmare.
Stepfather with John Locke.
Oh, yeah.
But Dreamscape, I always thought was a predecessor to Nightmare. Like Wes Craven had done it first as a
Wait, so her and your nephew?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Which nephew? Don't you have two?
but Colin, the
older one?
14-year-old,
The one that went to
Friday the 13th. Yeah,
Oh, okay, cool.
he'll be the youngest person I think we've had on this podcast.
Oh,
Yeah, because I think
I'll have to
your
PG
son's
it
the
up.
youngest right now.
I can
right?
bring a baby if you want. I got a newborn I can bring.
But I'll have to PG-13 it up. I can't be like, fucking this and fucking that. Like,
Well, don't you think he's going to want to re-listen to it and then maybe listen to other podcasts of this that you've
That's
done?
fine. If we get a younger audience, we'll
He'll
clean
tell
it
his
up a
friends
bit.
at school, and then his mom will get a call and be like, "Do you know what your son is telling all the kids to listen to?"
He'll tell his friends at school, and all of a sudden he won't have friends anymore.
He'll be put on a list. He'll be on some list or something like that.
That guy Colin told us to listen to that podcast and shit, man.
Ever since then, man, I haven't seen Colin.
Let's beat him up. Let's beat him up in the locker room.
All right. Thanks again for coming on, Stacey.
Yeah, thank
having
you.
me, guys.
Hope you had fun.
Check us out over there on Spreaker. Download, rate, subscribe, review, do all those fun things. The exciting and new podcast on all of our socials. The Jazoo on Instagram, Jazoo74 on Twitter. This has been the exciting and new podcast. I'm Jason.
AEGonzo1 on Twitter, AEGonzo1970 on Instagram. I'm Andy.
Dana Caps on TikTok, Dana Caps 77 on Instagram. I'm Dana.
Stacey Falcon Wolf 25 on Instagram.
Nice. I'm still going to fuck around with this volume thing until I know it's absolutely perfect. That's too loud. It's still.
You know we're going to question it every time now. Like, where's that?
I'm going to put, like, when you put the tape on the you don't want to turn the switch off.
Yep.
I'm going to put tape on it.
Oh, yeah.